Dyslexic Cosplayer is brought to you by Foamery, more on them midway through the video, and by our wonderful Patreon supporters, and viewers like you. Thank you. Greetings, friends, patrons, and fellow foam smiths. It's the Dyslexic Cosplayer, and it's time for another update video on my DragonCon build. So I decided to use some black magic foam clay produced by Foamery to help build out the blade, thicken it up, and help provide the nice peaked ridge look that I was going for to make it look like an actual sword blade. Here you can see me starting on by just slapping some bits of black magic foam clay onto the sword and slowly building it out and feathering it out with water. After that, it was time to build the chest armor, I felt like. So, first step was to take the body wrap that I had made and make a few minor cuts so that it laid perfectly flat. Then I traced that design out onto a large piece of 4mm EVA foam and proceeded to cut that out and glue it together. And you can see it worked quite well. With just a few cuts, it came together nicely. After that, I took some round foam dowels that I had bought years ago and cut them in half to add the folded metal look to the edges of the armor. My friend Caitlin had pointed out that there was a pointed metal belt thing on the chest plate, so I decided to trace that design out and then cut it out of some 10mm EVA foam and glue those pieces together. So after that, I added a little bit of battle damage and my favorite go-to fake rivets, googly eyes. Then it was just a matter of adding some paint and the purple fur collar that I'd always planned on adding. Purple fur, shadows, flames, I'm not quite sure which it's going to be when I'm done. Yeah, so after that I decided to start work on the sword. I decided to do that by adding some gribbly bits. So I got out my 2-part plastic resin kit, mixed up some resin, and added that to an Evil Ted mold that I picked up at Michael's years ago, and poured the liquid resin into it. And here you can see it curing over time. It does tend to kick in pretty quick, but not necessarily this quick, so I figured I'd speed it up and time-lapse it so you can get the full effect. But once it was done drying, I popped the pieces of plastic out while they were still a little on the warm side, which meant they were kind of malleable, and I added them to the sword. At this point, you may be asking, where am I getting all of this EVA foam from? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it's time for a message from our sponsor. It's time to buy your EVA foam. It can be hard to know who to get your foam from. However, this foamsmith highly recommends this video's sponsor, Foamery. Foamery is my favorite EVA foam maker. I've actually met the owner, talked with them, and their goal is to really make high-quality foam, ethically sourced and ethically made. I can personally attest to the quality of their products and their generosity. I've always said I would never take on a sponsor I didn't 100% endorse, and I can definitely say I highly recommend their products, so go check them out and see for yourself. If you've ordered some of their foam, tell them I sent you. Head on over to their website at thefoamery.com, link down below or on your screen, and get to smithing, you foam smiths! Ow! And now back to the video. So once that was done, I decided to do a little bit of work on the horns for the helmet. I never quite got the shiny star-like effect that I was going for. So I took the horns that I had made and decided to coat them in a thin coat of clear UV resin that I used for 3D printing projects. That helped give it the shiny quality I was looking for. I took some more of the clear resin and then added some silver mica to it and then painted that on to provide a star-like effect. Once I was done with that, I realized it needed a little bit more depth, so I mixed some black alcohol dye into clear resin and then painted that on and cured that as well. And I think the results are pretty spectacular. So then it was time to paint the sword. First I painted it with hammered metal Rust-Oleum paint, both bronze and silver, to give it the metallic look I was going for. After that, I ended up coating it in some black wash to help bring out the colors and help highlight the shadows and crevices of the piece. And then once that was done, it was time for a little bit of a film shoot. You can see it's all slowly starting to come together. I meant to try and get the gloves done, and while I've got some progress on that, I think I'm going to save that for the next update video. I'm also going to try and get the shoulder blades worked out and the gauntlets built in that time as well. Plus, in other good news, I picked up the absolute metric ton of aluminum rods that I'm going to need to make the wings with, so that's also going to be coming, hopefully, in the near future. Progress is slowly being made, and I have to keep reminding myself of that, but again, this would not be possible without all of your support and generous contributions to help make this feasible. I'm gonna get there, I promise, and I'm definitely having fun along the way, even when it gets to be a little bit of a challenge. So that's it for this update video, but I'll hope to see you all in 2 weeks with another one where we'll be making more progress and more awesome costumes. Until next time, let's get to smithing, you foam smiths! Thank you again to Foamery, and really, I just want to say once again, please go check out their stuff. It's wonderful. Thank you once again to all my friends, family, sponsors, and patrons, new and old.